Long before front-facing cameras, before filters, followers, and curated selves, there was a boy who fell in love with a reflection. His name was Narcissus, and his tragedy became our mirror. Narcissus was admired by everyone, but unreachable to all. He moved through the world like a star that refused to shine on anyone. He rejected every soul who reached for him, sometimes coldly, sometimes fearfully, as if affection was a language he never learned. One of those souls was Echo, a mountain nymph, cursed by Hera, to speak only the last words she heard. She adored Narcissus. From afar, following him, the way longing follows silence, always close, never close enough. But Echo was more than a girl in love. She was a symbol. She could only repeat others' words. She had no voice of her own. She mirrored everyone. A living embodiment of people-pleasing, fawning, and losing yourself in someone else's desires. And her love for Narcissus was tragic because he had too much self-image, and she had none. Two extremes, two shadows, both reflections, but in opposite directions. Echo mirrors what she hears. Narcissus mirrors what he sees, both trapped in reflections, but in opposite directions. In some tellings, Echo wastes away until her voice remains. She hides in caves and valleys. Her voice becomes internally disembodied. Unrequited love, fracturing identity. She becomes a voice without a body, emotion without grounding. She dissolves into the landscape as if the world itself begins repeating the things we wish we could say out loud. Nemesis, the goddess of justice, watched the pain of Narcissus left behind and decided the scales had tipped too far. She cursed him to fall in love with someone he could never have, a punishment carved with painful symmetry. One day, Narcissus knelt beside a silent pool and saw a face staring back, radiant, glowing, almost divine. In the oldest versions, he believed he had discovered a mysterious, perfect stranger. But in another ancient telling, he eventually recognizes the truth. He recognizes himself and still cannot walk away. Awareness doesn't save him. It only deepens the wound. You, stay, I beseech thee. If my hand may not reach thee, let mine eyes dwell upon me. In some versions, the reflection blushes when he blushes. In others, he realizes it's himself and still can't leave. From his body blooms the Narcissus flower, forever bending toward water. And somewhere between that ancient pool and the glass in our hand, The myth didn't fade, it upgraded. When we're about 6 to 18 months old, we recognize our reflection for the first time. Lacan calls this the mirror stage, the moment we split into two selves. Me, fragmented, inner experience. Ideal I, polished reflection. The child feels incomplete, chaotic, but sees a perfect, unified version in the mirror. That image becomes their first ideal self, the blueprint of who they think they should be. Babies smile at reflections more than toys. The mirror offers a fantasy of wholeness. The split follows us all our lives. Narcissus lives in that split forever. We've built digital pools, smooth surfaces, perfect lighting. We scroll through curated reflections and call it identity. When Narcissus saw his reflection, he basically invented the first thirst trap, except he fell for it himself. Selfie culture increases self-objectification. Scrolling activates reward loops like gambling. We compare real lives to filtered illusions. Self-objectification is when you watch yourself instead of being yourself. Narcissus never touched the water, and many of us haven't touched our own lives. It wasn't a love story, it was a situationship with his reflection. Objectification increases anxiety and perfectionism. You become the observer, not the experiencer. You live through other people's eyes. Narcissus doesn't die because he loves himself too much. He dies because he loves a version of himself he can never reach. This is the tragedy of perfectionism, adoring the impossible while abandoning the imperfect human. He didn't drown in vanity, he drowned in longing. Some say the myth warns against vanity, that Narcissus loved himself too much. Others argue the opposite, that he didn't know himself at all. He loved an illusion, not a person. Some say it's punishment for cruelty, for breaking hearts without remorse. And others insist he wasn't cruel, just afraid. Still others say it's about perfectionism, choosing the flawless reflection over the flawed human life. So what do you think? Was Narcissus vain, lost, afraid, cursed, or simply in love with the version of himself he never learned how to become? Maybe the myth of Narcissus isn't about vanity at all, but about what happens when reflection replaces connection. When we see ourselves so clearly that we forget to live. Narcissus never really left the pool. We just built mirrors.